We are doing Leontief input-output analysis. In Leontief input-output analysis, we study interdependencies between two sectors. In general format, we have two sectors, X and Y. This is my final demand. This is total output. X, Y, labor and capital. So here X11 represent output of first industry used by first industry. X12 represent output of first industry used by second industry. This is my external demand of first industry. This is my total output of first industry. Similarly here X21 represent output of second industry used by first industry. X22 represent output of second industry used by second industry. This is my external demand for second industry. This is my total output of second industry. For labor, X01 L represent required labor of first industry. Required labor of first industry. Here X02 L is the required labor of second industry. Similarly here X01 for capital represent required labor of capital for first industry, and X02 K represent required labor of level of capital for second industry. Now we are doing gross input output. Here X11 output of first industry used by first industry plus X12 output of first industry used by second industry plus external demand of first industry equals to total output of first industry. Similarly for the second, X21 plus X22 plus D2 equals to X2. Output of first industry used by output of second industry used by first industry, output of second industry used by second industry, external demand for second industry, external demand of second industry, and this is total output of second industry. Now I am making technology matrix. In technology matrix, as we know, Aij equals to Xij divided by Xj. Similarly here X11 divided by total output of first industry. Output of first industry used by first industry divided by total output of first industry equals to amount of output of first industry, amount of input of first industry for first industry. Here I am writing X, Y, final demand, X, Y, labor and capital. Similarly, X12 divided by total output of second industry equals to A12. Here D1. Output of second industry used by first industry divided by total output of second industry equals to A21. And output of second industry used by second industry divided by total output of second industry equals to A22. Here D2. Similarly for labor and capital, for labor X01 of labor divided by total output of first industry equals to amount of labor required for first industry. Similarly for the second, X02 of labor divided by total output of second industry equals to amount of labor required for second industry. Same for capital, X0 of K divided by total output of first industry equals to amount of capital required for first industry, and X02 of capital divided by total output of second industry equals to amount of capital required for second industry. Now I am writing this Here we can write this in this format. x11 equals to a11 x1, x12 equals to a12 x2, and so on. So I am writing this in here. a11 x1 plus a12 x2 plus d1 equals to x1. Similarly for the second, a21 x1 plus a22 x2 plus d2 equals to x2. Now I am taking x on one side and d on the other side. Now x1 minus a11 x1 plus minus a12 x2 equals to d1. Similarly, x2 minus a22 x2 minus a21 x1 equals to d2. x1 minus a11 x1 minus a12 x2. Similarly for x2, x2 minus a22 x2 minus a21 x1 equals to d2. Now we can do this by three methods: substitution elimination method, and inverse matrix method, and the third one is Cramer's law. So firstly I am doing substitution elimination method. So we can take common x1 from this and x2 from this. Here 1 minus a11 into x1 minus a12 x2 equals to d1. This is my first equation, and here 1 minus a22 into x2 minus a21 x1 equals to d2. Second equation. Now we are arranging x1 in one side and x2 on the other side. a1 minus a11 x1 minus a12 x2 equals to d1, and this x1 here minus a21 x1 plus 1 minus a22 x2 equals to d2. For substitution method we have to cancel this out, so we are multiplying the first equation from a12 and the first equation from a1 minus a22 and the second equation from a12. 1 minus a22 and here a12. So after this we get 1 minus a11 into 1 minus a22 into x1 minus a12 x2 into 1 minus a22 equals to d1 into 1 minus a22. And for the second one similarly we get a21 x1 into a12 plus 1 minus a22 into a12 into x2 equals to d2 a12. Now we have a122 1 minus a22 a12 and x2 a12. So we can cancel this out. Let's see what we have now. One minus a11 into 1 minus a22 x1 and this minus a21 x1 into a12 equals to d1 a d1 1 minus a2 2 minus d2 a1 2. Now we can factor out x1 from this and this also. So we have x1 equals to d1 into 1 minus a2 2 minus d2 into a1 2 divided by this 1 minus a11 into 1 minus a2 2 into a2 1 into a1 2. So we get the value of x1, and now we can put this value of x1 in these two equations to get the value of x2. Now we are doing inverse matrix method. For inverse matrix method, we have the formula 1 minus a11 x1 minus a12 x2 equals to d1. Similarly for d1, 1 minus a22 x2 minus a21 x1 equals to d2. As we know, we have now here a11 x1 plus a12 x2 plus d1 equals to x1. These two, a21 x1 plus a22 x2 plus d2 equals to x2. Now we are writing this in matrix form. Here we have a11 a21 a12 a22 into x1 x2 plus d1 d2 equals to x1 x2 in the form of ax plus b equals to x. So I am writing this on here.